Welcome to Moon Mind. In this video, you arrive somewhere quiet. A place that feels removed from the noise you've been carrying. The monastery rests in stillness before the teaching begins. You've come a long way to be here. And now, you've arrived. Outside, the mountain is dark and patient. The air is cool, carrying the scent of pine, and a faint trace of incense drifting from a nearby shrine. Somewhere in the distance, a wooden door settles into its frame. Then, silence. Not empty silence. But the kind that holds something. Something you've been searching for. Because something brought you here. A question. One that keeps returning when everything else quiets down. In the moments before sleep. In the spaces between thoughts. Why did this happen? What does it mean? And beneath those questions, a quiet, familiar exhaustion. The weight of carrying them for too long. Tonight, you will sit with an elder monk. Not to receive a simple answer, but to encounter something deeper. A teaching the Buddha offered long ago to those who carried the same burden. Not an explanation in the way the mind demands, but something far more restful. A shift in how the question itself is held. The teaching is simple. Nothing arises without conditions. Everything that happens emerges from a web of causes too vast for the mind to fully trace. And when this is truly understood, something begins to soften. The search loosens. Not because you found the answer, but because you no longer need to hold the question in the same way. If you are lying down, allow your body to settle. Let the weight of the day sink beneath you. There is nothing you need to do. Only listen. Only be here. Crescent moon the morning at the monastery. You wake before the bell. Dawn has not fully arrived yet. Just a pale suggestion of light touching the edges of the mountains. The room is cold. The kind of honest cold that asks nothing from you. Clean. Still. Uncomplicated. You pull the blanket a little closer and remain there for a moment. Listening. Then the bell sounds. Low. Resonant. It moves through the air slowly, as if the space itself is carrying it further than expected. You hear footsteps in the hallway. Soft. Measured. The quiet brush of robes against stone. A door opening somewhere down the corridor. Something inside you resists getting up. Not just the tiredness. Though that is there. But something deeper. The question. Still waiting. Still unresolved. Why did this happen? Why this, and not something else? What was the reason? You've asked it in many ways. In different rooms. On different nights. Turning it over and over in your mind. Like a stone in your hand. Searching for something written into its surface. But the stone is always smooth. It offers nothing back. The courtyard. You dress quietly and step outside. The sky is beginning to separate itself from the mountains. Shades of gray slowly giving way to soft gold. In the courtyard, a young monk is sweeping the stone path. Slow, steady movements. The sound of the broom brushing across the ground is simple. And unexpectedly calming. You pause. Just watching. And for a moment. Something rare happens. You are simply here. Not thinking. Not searching. Just seeing. The question fades into the background. Not gone. But quieter. Crescent moon meeting the elder. The elder monk approaches without urgency. He is smaller than you imagined. Wrapped in saffron robes, a shawl pulled gently around his shoulders. There is something about his presence. Not force. Not authority. But attention. The kind that comes from years of observing life without rushing past it. He nods when he sees you. A simple gesture. As if to say, yes, you've arrived. You slept, he asks. A little, you reply. He nods again. As though this is exactly the right answer. Come, he says softly. We will walk first. The walk. The path winds through old stone walls and tall pine trees. The air is cool, carrying the scent of earth and resin. Somewhere nearby, incense continues to drift from the shrine room. You walk beside him in silence. And surprisingly, it does not feel uncomfortable. He does not try to fill the space. He moves as if silence itself is enough. After a while, he speaks. You came with a question. Not a question. A statement. You nod. Yes. He continues walking. Do not tell me what happened, he says. I do not need the story. Tell me instead, what the mind does with it. You think for a moment. Then answer honestly. It keeps asking why. It keeps searching for a reason. It feels like if I could just understand it, I could finally let it go. He listens. Without interrupting. Without reacting. You continue. But I never find the answer. So I keep returning to it. He walks a few more steps before speaking again. And if you found the answer? He says gently. What would change? Crescent moon, the turning point. The question stops you. You begin to respond. But something feels uncertain. You pause. Because you don't actually know. What would change? Would the pain disappear? Would the past become different? Or would the mind simply find something else to hold? The elder monk watches you quietly. Not waiting for the correct answer. Only for you to see something clearly. The teaching begins. The mind believes, he says softly. That understanding will bring peace. That if it can trace every cause, every reason, every detail, then it will finally be able to rest. He pauses. But life does not work that way. He gestures lightly toward the mountains. Everything you see here exists because of countless conditions. The trees, the air, the path beneath your feet. None of it comes from a single cause. And yet, he continues. You ask the mind to explain your suffering as if it should have one. Crescent moon, the realization. You feel something shift. Not fully formed. But beginning. The question itself, he says, is what keeps the weight in place. You believe the answer will release you. But it is the gripping of the question that keeps you bound. He looks at you, not to convince you, but to let the truth settle in its own way. When you see clearly that no single answer can hold the whole of what happened, the need to keep asking begins to loosen. Closing reflection. You stand there quietly. The morning light now fully touching the courtyard. The question is still there. But it feels different. Less sharp. Less urgent. Not something that must be solved. But something that can be allowed. And for the first time, you are not trying to force it into meaning.